Chapter 3830. The Lord of Time. At the last moment, the wings of Time's curse activated, and the Time Great Tao erupted, causing Lin Moyu's personal time to accelerate sharply. Space became chaotic, time was stirred up, and layers of ripples appeared on the outskirts of the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. Those were the marks of time. Lin Moyu shot forward like an arrow, piercing through the ripples and charging into the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. As he broke in, the deep drumbeat sounded again, lower than before, and the ripples of time shattered in the sound. The entire void fell into a state of time reversal. The scene of Lin Moyu charging in replayed again and again. Lin Moyu heard a sound and looked back to see
himself,
repeatedly dashing toward the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. But each scene was only a fragment. None showed him succeeding. Inside and outside the Great Spirit domain was separated by a thin line. Inside, all was calm. Outside, time surged violently. Just 10 seconds later, all the scenes shattered with a bang. Lin Moyu's expression changed dramatically as his soul twisted and suffered severe injuries.
Time strangulation.
Lin Moyu realized what had just happened. The Time Great Tao, using the imprint of the past, had strangled his present self. He possessed this ability too, but it was ineffective against those of higher cultivation than himself. Fortunately, with the Time Great Tao protecting him, he was only injured and not in mortal danger. Life force surged, quickly repairing his soul, as Lin Moyu flew deeper into the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. Skeleton generals spread out in all directions. Here, time seemed to lose its effect. He couldn't sense its flow, and even his thoughts seemed to slow down. The entire Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain was suffused with the power of the Time Great Tao, making time stand still. Without the protection of the Time Great Tao, a cultivator would become lost here, their thoughts gradually halting until they were trapped forever. Only the Time Great Tao allowed Lin Moyu to move freely. Now he understood why Discernment Beast said he could survive here because of the Time Great Tao. Unknowingly, he flew for nearly 2 days. The domain was utterly silent. Lin Moyu saw no void beasts, no soul worlds, just a profound desolation. He also hadn't seen any small spirit domains. Since entering, he'd always been in the same small spirit domain. Either it was enormous or the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain only had one small spirit domain. He recalled noticing from a distance that the domain seemed small, and remembered that in the Redstone Great Spirit domain, small spirit domains were merging. If the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain had also merged its small spirit domains, it would make sense for it to be smaller. Lin Moyu changed direction and flew onward. Several days passed without reaching the edge of the small spirit domain. He was now 70% sure the small spirit domains had merged into one. But the key was, there wasn't a single void beast or sign of life, just chaotic mist. To Lin Moyu, this was true emptiness.
What is that?
Far ahead, through the mist, Lin Moyu suddenly saw a glimmer of light. A speck of light in the darkness. Dazzling. He quickly approached, and after passing through several layers of mist, he saw it clearly. A brilliant river flowed from afar, winding through the empty void. Lin Moyu had seen this river several times before, but seeing it again shocked him more than anyone. It shouldn't be here.
The River of Time? Why is the River of Time here?
Lin Moyu murmured. The River of Time shouldn't be in this place. Yet it was right before his eyes, and had clearly existed for a long time, not just appeared. He flew closer and saw countless time fragments in the river, like scenes in a painting, tumbling through the current. He frowned. All the time fragments showed similar, chaotic scenes. After watching for a while, he couldn't make sense of them. He followed the river and saw more and more scenes, but they all came from the soul void. Some showed void beasts, some soul worlds. Most were just empty illusions. Lin Moyu finally understood. This was not the real River of Time, but an imitation.
This isn't the real River of Time. Who copied the River of Time, and why? All the records in this imitation are from the soul void. Could it be the Twilight Drum Great Spirit Domain's Emperor? There is no Emperor here now, but there must have been one before. This river must have been created by a former emperor.
Lin Moyu didn't enter the river. He didn't know what would happen inside, and wouldn't risk it without certainty. He flew along the river for a long time. The closer he got, the more chaotic time became, to the point he couldn't tell how long he'd been flying. Finally, he glimpsed the end of the river. Yong! A deep drumbeat sounded again. The calm river exploded into huge waves, shaking the entire domain. The power of time swept out through the river, across the domain, and even beyond. Inside the domain, the effect was much weaker. The time reversal targeted the area outside the domain, not inside. As the drum sounded, Lin Moyu saw that at the end of the river sat a giant drum. The drum's shape was exactly like the outline of the domain he'd seen before.
Twilight Drum!
Lin Moyu instinctively recognized it as the innate origin treasure. Twilight Drum. The 9 great spirit domains were not formed by emperors, but by 9 innate origin treasures. These treasures were all in the hands of emperors, and rarely seen. This was a rare chance to see one up close. As he drew closer, Lin Moyu was startled to see 10 figures standing beside the drum. Time Dao power swirled around one of them, making time speed up and slow down, stop and go, filled with chaos. Only the Lord of Time could do that. When Lin Moyu saw him, the Lord of Time noticed Lin Moyu too. A crisp voice called out.
Greetings, Lord of Immortality.
Lin Moyu was also surprised the voice was familiar. When he entered the returning origin land and reached the Immortality Great Tao, someone had congratulated him. This was one of those voices. Lin Moyu sped over and bowed.
Greetings, Senior. No need for formality, Lord of Immortality. We are fellow cultivators, no need for humility. I am Shiyu, well met.
The Lord of Time smiled, the Time Great Tao fading from around him, revealing his true form. He was human, appearing middle-aged, with a gentle look and a faint smile. Chapter 38-31. Void Soul Essence Stone. Meeting the Lord of Time meant finding the right person. This time, Lin Moyu had come specifically to seek out the Lord of Time. Just as Discernment Beast had said, at first glance, the Lord of Time seemed approachable. His tone was sincere. He truly wished to interact as an equal. While Shiryu, the Lord of Time, could act so casually, Lin Moyu did not dare to be complacent. He bowed and said,
You are too kind, Taoist Shi. I am still searching for the Tao and need more time to return to my rightful place.
Shiryu didn't mind.
It's only a matter of time. With your talent, returning to your rightful position is inevitable.
Lin Moyu smiled.
Thank you for your kind words.
Shiryu asked.
I assume you didn't come here by chance. Are you interested in the position of Twilight Drum Emperor?
Lin Moyu shook his head.
Not at all. I came here specifically to find you, Taoist Shi.
Shiryu was surprised, his eyes flashing.
Discernment Beast told you I was here, didn't he?
Lin Moyu nodded.
That's right.
Shiryu chuckled and got straight to the point.
So, what brings you here?
Lin Moyu said.
The world I was born in, its will has awakened and reached the peak of formation, and is about to attempt eternity.
Shiryu stared at Lin Moyu, and Lin Moyu felt his own time changing. He knew Shiryu was examining his past. As the Lord of Time, everything related to time was under his control. Lin Moyu didn't bother resisting. He couldn't have stopped it anyway. After a moment, Shiryu's face showed a trace of puzzlement.
Strange, your time is very blurry.
Lin Moyu knew he was outside of fate, but hadn't expected even his time to be so indistinct. Even the Lord of Time couldn't see it clearly. Shiryu continued.
Although I can't see clearly, your true spirit imprint does reside in that world. With your foundation, you're in no danger of perishing, but if you fail in this world, you'll have to remain dormant for many years.
Lin Moyu picked up the thread.
Exactly. That's why I've come to ask for your help.
Shiryu said.
You should know, we cannot destroy a world will. Otherwise, we'll face great Tao punishment, not death, but forced dormancy.
The higher the cultivation, the harsher the punishment. This is how the great Tao restrains the most powerful beings. Otherwise, they could destroy countless worlds at will. Lin Moyu said,
There's no need to destroy the world, we'll just injure it and slow its progress toward eternity.
Shiryu replied,
Even so, we would bear a heavy karmic burden. To erase that karma, a significant price must be paid.
Lin Moyu understood.
I understand. Please name your price, and I'll do my best to pay it.
Shiryu thought for a moment.
Do you know why I am here?
Lin Moyu replied,
I can only guess it must be for that final step.
Shiryu said,
That's right. Everyone has their own final step, but in the end, it's about completing oneself body, mind, and soul united with heaven and earth. I am the Lord of Time, mastering the Time Great Tao, but the Twilight Drum Emperor also controls the Time Great Tao. You saw the river of time here that was created by the Twilight Drum Emperor.
Lin Moyu nodded.
But as the Lord of Time, shouldn't you already have mastered all the mysteries of the Time Great Tao? There shouldn't be two Lords of Time. Why is there a Twilight Drum Emperor?
Shiryu smiled and shook his head.
It's not that simple. I became Lord of Time through my own cultivation and enlightenment. The Twilight Drum Emperor, however, wields the Time Great Tao through this innate origin treasure. His power is not weaker than mine. If we were to contest the Time Great Tao, I wouldn't be guaranteed to win.
Lin Moyu was stunned. Shiryu's words overturned his understanding. He had thought that a great Tao Lord was unrivaled in their own Tao. Others might be stronger overall, but not in the Tao they mastered. But Shiryu said that on the Time Great Tao, the Twilight Drum Emperor could match him. Shiryu sighed.
That's the wonder of the world. Every great Tao has a source, and those sources condense into supreme treasures. The Twilight Drum is the source of the Time Great Tao. So the Twilight Drum Emperor doesn't need to cultivate the Time Great Tao, just this treasure is enough to rival me. Of course, he poses no threat to me. The source is just power. Mastery of the Tao is another matter.
Lin Moyu understood. With this treasure, the Twilight Drum Emperor could wield the Time Great Tao's power as well as Shiryu. But he could not replace Shiryu, so there was no real conflict between them. Shiryu continued,
There's no conflict between us. In fact, we often discuss the Tao together. But Soul Void Emperors are special. They are eternal. But their understanding of the Tao is not as deep as ours. He had ambition. He saw the final step and wanted to cross it. At his request, I helped him, but in the end I harmed him. This river of time, I helped him forge it, but we didn't succeed.
There was a hint of regret in Shiryu's tone. Lin Moyu could tell they had once been close. With Shiryu's help, the Twilight Drum Emperor used the time treasure to forge this river of time. Lin Moyu asked,
But isn't this river of time already complete?
Because Shiryu saw Lin Moyu as the Lord of Immortality. He spoke with some respect and didn't hide much. He sighed.
It's not fully complete. His final step was to forge a second river of time, recording everything that happened in the Soul Void. But in the process, he had to merge himself and the Twilight Drum into the river, becoming its spirit. When the river of time was fully formed, he would transcend it, take the final step, and surpass the Emperor level. Unfortunately, he failed to become the spirit of the river of time, and so did the Twilight Drum. In the end, the Twilight Drum remained, but he fell silent.
Lin Moyu asked,
But aren't emperors eternal? Shouldn't he be able to return?
Shiryu shook his head.
Emperors are different from us. Their strength reaches eternity, but they don't truly step into eternity. Without a great Tao to protect them, if they fall, it's true death, not just dormancy.
Lin Moyu said,
It seems the final step is truly difficult. Is there anything I can do to help?
After hearing all this, Lin Moyu knew it must be related to Shiryu's request. Otherwise, why tell him all this? This was Shiryu and the Twilight Drum Emperor's story. What did it have to do with him? Shiryu said,
I want a Void Soul Essence Stone.
Chapter 38-32. Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain. Lin Moyu had never even heard of a Void Soul Essence Stone. But he wasn't anxious. Since the Lord of Time brought it up, He would surely explain where to find this so-called Void Soul Essence Stone. Sure enough, Shiryu spoke again.
Before you arrived here, you should have heard a bell, right?
Lin Moyu nodded in acknowledgement. Shiryu said,
That was the sound of the morning bell, from the morning bell Great Spirit domain. The morning bell and twilight drum are both supreme treasures. The morning bell corresponds to the space Great Tao, and the twilight drum corresponds to the time Great Tao. The Void Soul Essence Stone is a top-tier treasure unique to the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain, and is currently in the hands of the Morning Bell Emperor. As long as you can help me obtain a Void Soul Essence Stone, I'll help you take on the karma.
Shiryu had named his price. Lin Moyu said,
A top-tier treasure, and it's in the hands of the Morning Bell Emperor.
The answer was obvious. If it were easy to get, he would have done it himself already. Shiryu said,
To obtain the Void Soul Essence Stone, you must pass the Morning Bell Emperor's trial. The Morning Bell is an innate origin treasure, representing the Space Great Tao. Only cultivators of the Space Great Tao who have reached at least third-tier innate soul can enter. I've asked several Space Tao Lords, but all have failed.
Lin Moyu said,
If even Space Tao Lords failed, I doubt I'll succeed.
Shiryu replied,
Not necessarily. According to those Tao Lords, to obtain the Void Soul Essence Stone, you need space-time power. They couldn't pass the Morning Bell Emperor's trial because they lack space-time power, not having mastered the time Great Tao.
Space-time power, wasn't that just the combination of time and space? For Shiryu, that shouldn't be difficult. With a space-type treasure and his own time Great Tao, he could easily form space-time power. Even if he had to comprehend the space Great Tao with his talent and endless years, he could have done it by now. Lin Moyu sensed there was more to the story. Shiryu said,
I can't enter the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain. The Morning Bell Emperor and I have some history. The Space Tao Lords I found had never comprehended the time Great Tao. I also can't temporarily lend them my time Great Tao. Morning Bell Emperor would sense it, and bring disaster upon them.
Lin Moyu asked,
Couldn't those Tao Lords just try to comprehend the time Great Tao?
Shiryu shook his head.
We tried that. After becoming a Tao Lord, the Space Great Tao dominates, and it's very hard to form space-time power. I haven't found anyone who cultivates both the time and space Great Taos.
Normally, before reaching the Great Tao realm, many people cultivate multiple Taos. But after reaching the Great Tao realm, due to Tao struggles, dual cultivation becomes increasingly rare. Lin Moyu was a rare exception. He now understood why Shiryu wanted him to go, because he was one of the few who cultivated both the time and space Great Taos and had reached first-tier innate soul. Shiryu looked at Lin Moyu.
Taoist Lin, are you willing?
Lin Moyu needed his help, so there was no question of willingness. He had to try. Otherwise, it would be hard to find another Great Tao Lord in a short time, and even if he did, the price might not be any lower. Lin Moyu said,
All right, I'll do it.
Shiryu smiled.
Then I must trouble you, Taoist Lin. Don't blame me for being cautious so long as you do your best. Even if you fail, I'll still help you once.
Lin Moyu's eyes brightened.
Thank you, Taoist Sure.
There was no oath, nor any requirement for guaranteed success. Just doing his best was enough for Shiryu to help. On the surface, the Lord of Time really was a reasonable Great Tao Lord. Lin Moyu said,
Then please point the way, Taoist Sure. I'll head to the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain now.
Shiryu flicked a ray of light.
It will guide you. When you hear the bell, you'll have reached the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain. But you'll have to find the entrance yourself. That's the first test. Here is a time jade. Whether you succeed or fail, you can activate it to contact me, and I'll come immediately.
Lin Moyu put away the time jade.
All right, I'm off.
Shiryu said,
Be careful, the Morning Bell Emperor isn't easy to deal with.
Lin Moyu nodded.
I'll be careful. I'll let you know once I have news.
Following Shiryu's guidance, Lin Moyu set off for the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain. A wisp of light flew through the void, and Lin Moyu followed closely behind. He didn't release Little Python, nor did he summon the Tao spirits. The guiding light was from the Lord of Time, and Lin Moyu didn't know if it had any other function besides showing the way. Though the Lord of Time seemed reasonable, Lin Moyu knew to be cautious some cards should never be shown. Even if sure you treated him as a peer, Lin Moyu kept his guard up. There was something about the story between the Lord of Time and the Twilight Drum Emperor that felt off. But that wasn't his concern. His only goal was to get the Void Soul Essence Stone and have the Lord of Time injure the Origin Continent's world will, buying himself enough time. Everything else was irrelevant. He left the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain and flew through the vacuum, getting farther and farther away. As he left, the drum sounded again. But unlike before, this drumbeat was no longer deep and heavy, but clear and bright, as if seeing him off.
This change in the drumbeat must be the Lord of Time's doing. It seems the reason no one can approach the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain is also because of the Lord of Time. When human sovereign came here in the past, it must have been the Lord of Time who fought him. If the Lord of Time could injure human sovereign, his true combat power must be terrifying.
As a fellow Great Tao Lord, the Lord of Time's ability to injure human sovereign spoke volumes about his strength. Lin Moyu knew he needed to be extra careful with him. The wisp of light led Lin Moyu for a long time, until he suddenly heard a bell. At the instant the bell rang, the light vanished. Clearly, the Lord of Time didn't want the Morning Bell Emperor to know of his involvement. He had already withdrawn. With the bell, a strange scene appeared. Lightning flashed in the sky, thunder roared, and torrential rain poured down. Fierce winds howled, and below, monstrous waves rose from a boundless ocean. Lin Moyu found himself above an endless sea, the rain carrying a sense of death, as if the end of the world had come. The Space Tao Spirit appeared beside him. The Space Tao Spirit waved its small hand.
Space isolation.
In the special space created by the Morning Bell, the Space Tao Spirit carved out an independent space, isolating them from the outside. A second bell sounded, and the apocalyptic space began to crack, breaking apart. Chapter 38-33, Lies. Everything in the space was frozen, the entire space riddled with cracks. The scene before Lin Moyu shattered, along with everything within the space. The independent space created by the Space Tao Spirit was less affected while cracks appeared. It did not break apart. Without this independent space, Lin Moyu felt his soul would have been damaged, even with his mastery of the Space Great Tao. For any other first-tier innate soul Great Tao cultivator, most would have been shattered along with the space. And that shattering was only the first step. Next would come the explosion of space. The bell sounded again, and the broken space exploded with a roar. The origin land behind the soul void was revealed once more, and the terrifying power of the Space Great Tao swept in. This level of spatial power was enough to kill a Great Tao Lord. Only a Tao Lord who cultivated the Space Great Tao could survive. The independent space isolated by the Space Tao Spirit was destroyed in the explosion, but it had already blocked most of the impact, allowing Lin Moyu to withstand it with only a minor price. During this process, Lin Moyu searched for the entrance to the Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain. The Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain was the hardest to find among the 9 great domains. It existed in different spaces, though within the soul void, it could not be seen or entered by ordinary means. Upon hearing the bell, one was actually within the domain's range, but to truly enter, one had to find the correct entrance at the moment the bell sounded. Relying on his Space Great Tao, Lin Moyu began searching. Before he could start, the Space Tao Spirit was already pointing.
Master, there's an entrance over there.
Though Lin Moyu cultivated the Space Great Tao, he couldn't compare to this little one who had copied the entire Space Great Tao's true body. Following the little one's direction, Lin Moyu saw a tiny crack. This crack flickered in and out of existence amid the spatial shattering, and was so small it was impossible to pass through. Lin Moyu whispered,
"Widen it."
The Space Tao Spirit responded instantly, waving its small hand as spatial power surged forth, forcibly expanding the crack from less than half a meter to over 100 meters. The aura of the Great Spirit Domain rushed out, and Lin Moyu immediately flew in. Upon entering the Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain, He felt an incredibly dense spatial power. This power came from the space Great Tao, filling the entire domain. The entire domain space became thick and layered. Invisible space seemed to become tangible, and the chaotic mist was compressed into a mass. In such an environment, neither void beasts nor living beings could survive. The space was so heavy that Lin Moyu felt as if he were trapped in a swamp. Moving forward was extremely difficult. But it didn't matter, he had help.
Find the source of the spatial power.
Lin Moyu ordered the Space Tao Spirit. He believed the Space Tao Spirit could find the source. The root of all changes in the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain was the Morning Bell. The Space Tao Spirit did not disappoint, quickly identifying the direction. It wielded the space Great Tao like a sharp blade, slicing open the space ahead. Lin Moyu followed, sensing the changes in space.
What did the Morning Bell Emperor do to make the domain like this?
The Morning Bell Great Spirit domain felt similar to the Twilight Drum Great Spirit domain. Neither domain had void beasts or soul worlds. The area was like a dead zone. He wondered if this was caused by the innate origin treasures, or if it was intentional on the part of the Emperor. Discernment Beast had said emperors could not actively attack world wills, but he never said emperors couldn't attack living beings. And by using spatial transformations to destroy all the worlds within the domain, it wouldn't be considered an active attack. If that was the case, the Morning Bell Emperor was truly ruthless. But it was also possible that there simply weren't any living beings in this domain. The Space Tao Spirit kept tearing open space, and as the domain was compressed, its size shrank dramatically. In just over 10 days, Lin Moyu reached the center of the domain. A giant bell connecting heaven and earth appeared before him. Seated atop the bell was a majestic figure. He radiated a terrifying aura, spatial power surging outward, merging with the Morning Bell and the domain into one. Lin Moyu sensed that he was about to fuse completely with the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain. Space trembled, and a hollow voice echoed from all directions.
Human, why have you come to my domain?
The Morning Bell Emperor's voice carried a powerful resonance, like a bell toll, deafening and oppressive. Lin Moyu said,
Lin Moyu of the human race greets the Morning Bell Emperor. I have come for the Void Soul Essence Stone.
The Morning Bell Emperor did not reply, but Lin Moyu felt countless gazes from all directions fall upon him, as if innumerable Morning Bell Emperors were staring at him. A chill ran down his spine. He realized the Morning Bell Emperor was truly about to merge with the domain. In other words, the domain was him. Within it, he was invincible. Even the Lord of Time or human sovereign would have to kneel here, even if they joined forces. No one knew how far the Morning Bell Emperor had progressed on his final step. Lin Moyu knew he might leave empty-handed this time. Just surviving would be fortunate. As for the Void Soul Essence Stone, there was little hope. If the Morning Bell Emperor really wanted to attack, Lin Moyu could only call on Discernment Beast and hope for some respect. The Morning Bell Emperor's voice came from all around.
Did Shiryu send you? Don't bother hiding, I can sense his aura on you.
Faced with this, Lin Moyu could only admit honestly.
I have a request for Taoist Shi, and he said if I could get the Void Soul Essence Stone, he'd help me.
The Morning Bell Emperor said,
What is it? Speak clearly.
Lin Moyu suddenly felt the Morning Bell Emperor was a bit gossipy. It felt strange, but Lin Moyu explained his situation. He had no choice in this situation. The Morning Bell Emperor's gaze scrutinized Lin Moyu from all sides, as if to see through him. After a moment, the voice sounded again.
Shiryu calls you a Taoist friend, so you must be the reincarnation of a great Tao Lord. Did he give you something to contact him at any time?
Lin Moyu was stunned, then took out the Time Jade you had given him.
Yes, this is the Time Jade.
The Time Jade floated toward the Morning Bell Emperor. The Morning Bell Emperor said nothing, but for some reason, Lin Moyu faintly heard a cold laugh. Lin Moyu couldn't help but ask,
Is there a problem?
The Morning Bell Emperor said,
You possess space-time power, so by the rules, you are indeed qualified to enter the space-time spirit realm. But do you know why Shiryu gave you the Tao Jade?
Lin Moyu asked in confusion.
Isn't this the Time Jade?
The Morning Bell Emperor's cold laughter grew louder, as if countless versions of him were mocking Lin Moyu, the surrounding space swirling with mocking faces. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. He realized the Lord of Time might have lied to him, deceiving him. Chapter 38-34. Becoming a tool. Between the Lord of Time and the Morning Bell Emperor, one of them was definitely not telling the truth. Even though Discernment Beast had said the Lord of Time was easier to deal with, Lin Moyu knew not to fully trust Discernment Beast either. After all, it wasn't the Lord of Time and could only see the surface. After all, you can know someone's face, but not their heart. Outwardly, Lin Moyu looked a bit surprised, but inside he was calm as still water. He didn't trust either of them. The Morning Bell Emperor said,
Sure, you, the Lord of Time, has always been trying to enter the space-time spirit realm, but he's never found an opportunity. He gave you the Tao Jade Heart hoping you'd carry it into the space-time spirit realm.
Lin Moyu asked,
Does this Tao Jade Heart have any special use?
The Morning Bell Emperor replied,
Sure, you is the master of the Time Great Tao. The Tao Jade Heart, nurtured by the Time Great Tao, is deeply connected to him. He can use it to lock onto your position at any time and send a clone to descend. As soon as you enter the space-time spirit realm, his clone will descend.
According to the Morning Bell Emperor, Sure Yu had always wanted to enter the space-time spirit realm himself, but it was controlled by the Morning Bell Emperor, so he couldn't get in. So Sure Yu could only use this method, letting Lin Moyu carry the Tao Jade Heart inside, then descending as a clone, which was essentially the same as entering himself. Lin Moyu asked,
But why does he want to do this?
The Morning Bell Emperor snorted coldly, his tone full of disdain.
That man is malicious. He harms friends for his own gain and never trusts anyone.
Lin Moyu said,
According to you, Sure Yu doesn't trust me, so he'll descend personally to get the Void Soul Essence Stone. But he should also know that I carry his aura and will surely be discovered by you. And I'm also very likely to tell you everything.
The Morning Bell Emperor said,
Of course he knows, but so what? Even if I know you're his person, by the rules I still have to let you enter the space-time spirit realm unless I kill you.
Kill you? Hearing those words, Lin Moyu felt a chill run down his spine. He knew the Morning Bell Emperor wasn't joking, he really might act. The Morning Bell Emperor sneered.
If I really killed you, I'd fall into his trap. You're the reincarnation of a great Tao Lord, bearing great karma. If I kill you, I'll have to bear that karma, which does me more harm than good. So he's counting on me not to kill you.
Lin Moyu said,
In that case, you could just keep the Tao Jade Heart and let me go in alone.
The Morning Bell Emperor replied,
Can't be done. When he gave you the Tao Jade Heart, it was already bound to you. The moment you enter the space-time spirit realm, the Tao Jade Heart will undergo time reversal. Its time will return to the moment you received it.
If the Morning Bell Emperor was right, this wasn't a covert scheme, but an open one. He knew the Tao Jade Heart couldn't be left behind, but killing Lin Moyu would bring massive karma. But if he didn't kill him, Lin Moyu would enter the space-time spirit realm, Sure Yu's clone would descend, and he'd definitely get the Void Soul Essence Stone. No wonder Sure Yu had been all smiles when they met, not because he was friendly, but because he'd found the perfect tool. Still, Lin Moyu wasn't too worried. Neither Sure Yu nor the Morning Bell Emperor would kill him. Neither wanted to bear the karma. The conflict between the Morning Bell Emperor and Sure Yu was deep, judging by the Morning Bell Emperor's attitude. He'd love nothing more than to see Sure Yu dead. Lin Moyu asked,
So what does the Emperor plan to do now?
The Morning Bell Emperor thought for a moment.
Sure, you may have his plans, but he doesn't understand space-time power, nor does he know what's inside the space-time spirit realm. As long as I make a few arrangements, even if he enters, he'll come away empty-handed. He probably knows he's not guaranteed to succeed, so you're his backup. If his clone can't get it, it'll be up to you to obtain the Void Soul Essence Stone. Since this is his open scheme, I'll add a little twist of my own. Whatever Void Soul Essence Stone you get, I'll add something extra to it.
So, Sure Yu saw Lin Moyu as a tool, and now the Morning Bell Emperor did too. Neither of them were good people. And the Morning Bell Emperor was even blunt about his plan. Clearly unafraid, Lin Moyu would tell Shiryu. All around, countless giant faces appeared in the space, the Morning Bell Emperor's cold gaze sweeping over.
Any objections?
Lin Moyu certainly didn't dare object, but he had his own thoughts.
Shiryu promised that if I succeeded, he'd help me deal with the world will.
The Morning Bell Emperor said.
That's between you and him. But I can also promise, if you help me with this, I'll help you once as well.
Lin Moyu was surprised.
The Emperor can strike at the world will?
The Morning Bell Emperor replied.
Of course. We have our concerns about heavenly punishment, but it's not impossible to act as long as we keep it within limits. It's just a matter of bearing some karma.
Another transaction. Lin Moyu realized he was destined to be a tool for both of them. He had no idea what the Morning Bell Emperor planned to do with the Void Soul Essence Stone. But judging from his attitude, it wouldn't be simple and would surely harm Shiryu. Who knew what kind of grudge existed between these two eternal beings? The Morning Bell Emperor clearly wanted Shiryu dead. But Lin Moyu couldn't ask, and even if he did, the Morning Bell Emperor wouldn't answer. Given the situation, Lin Moyu could only agree. The Morning Bell Emperor said in a low voice,
Then I'll open the space-time spirit realm.
As he spoke, the Morning Bell Emperor tossed the Tao Jade Heart back to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu sensed the Tao Jade Heart again, and indeed found a wisp of Shiryu's soul hidden within. If he'd discovered this before, he wouldn't have thought much of it. After all, it was meant for contacting Shiryu. But now it felt very different. The Morning Bell Emperor released a tremendous pressure, twisting the surrounding space. Above him, a spatial rift appeared. Threads of space-time power seeped out from the rift, which slowly widened as the Morning Bell Emperor said,
It'll just take a moment.
Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry and asked,
What is the Void Soul Essence Stone used for?
The Morning Bell Emperor chuckled.
It's useless to me, but for Shiryu, it might be the supreme treasure he needs for his final step. A Void Soul Essence Stone can be fused into an innate origin treasure. If a soul is placed inside before fusion, that soul can refine the innate origin treasure. Shiryu wants to use the Void Soul Essence Stone to refine the Twilight Drum and become the new master of the Twilight Drum Great Spirit Domain. He's already the Lord of Time, and with the Twilight Drum's help, he might take the final step.
Lin Moyu thought of human sovereign in the World Tree Great Spirit Domain. He seemed to have done something similar, though with the Three Lives secret method. Both wanted to take the final step, and both steps were connected to the Soul Void Emperors. Suddenly, Lin Moyu realized something and blurted out.
So the Drum Emperor was killed by Shiryu.
Chapter 38-35. Space-Time Spirit Realm. The Morning Bell Emperor did not answer, but from the sudden sharpness in his gaze, Lin Moyu already understood the answer. For the sake of his final step, the Lord of Time had done something similar to human sovereign, but even more ruthless. Human sovereign had only tricked the Jumu, World Tree, Emperor into the Beast Abyss and hadn't truly killed him. Perhaps he simply didn't have the power to do so. But the Lord of Time had truly killed the Twilight Drum Emperor. Lin Moyu had already figured it out.
No wonder the Morning Bell Emperor said Shiryu, the Lord of Time, is malicious and harms his friends. It seems the Morning Bell Emperor and the Twilight Drum Emperor were close.
Lin Moyu probed.
You and the Twilight Drum Emperor must have been friends, right?
The Morning Bell Emperor replied coldly.
That's none of your business. Do your job, and don't meddle in other people's affairs. After this matter, whether Shiryu helps you or not, I will definitely keep my promise.
Lin Moyu didn't ask further. The grievances between these people were not something he could get involved in. For now, he just needed to do his own task. The rift in space grew larger and larger, and the entrance to the space-time spirit realm was fully revealed. At this moment, the Morning Bell Emperor tossed something into the space-time spirit realm. Lin Moyu saw it but said nothing. He knew this was a trap the Morning Bell Emperor had set for the Lord of Time. The Morning Bell Emperor said,
Go in. I hope you make it back alive.
After bowing to the Morning Bell Emperor, Lin Moyu flew into the space-time spirit realm. Once he entered, the Morning Bell Emperor muttered.
Twilight Drum brother, your chance has come.
Space and time shifted. As soon as he entered the space-time spirit realm, Lin Moyu felt the force of space-time. Time and space were in chaos here. Different areas existed in different times and spaces, and his soul seemed to be torn apart, entering different regions and at risk of shattering at any moment. Lin Moyu instinctively activated both the time and space great Daos, forming space-time power to envelop his soul, pulling the surrounding space-time back to the same dimension to prevent his soul from being torn apart. Here, if you only mastered one great Tao, it would be extremely dangerous. After a brief transmission, his soul officially entered the space-time spirit realm. The power of space-time grew even denser. Lin Moyu surveyed his surroundings, fully activating his space-time power. At that moment, the Tao Jade heart in his hand suddenly emitted a glow, and Sure Yuz, the Lord of Time, Phantom appeared. The Phantom quickly solidified into a clone. Time power flowed. As the Lord of Time, his mastery of the Time Great Tao was absolute. With the Time Great Tao alone, he could resist the changes of space-time. Using time to affect space, this ability was far beyond imagination. Lin Moyu was prepared for this, but pretended to be surprised.
Taoist Sure, what brings you here?
Sure Yu smiled faintly.
The Void Soul Essence Stone is not easy to obtain. I came to act separately from you, Taoist Lin. This way, our chances of success are higher.
Lin Moyu nodded slightly.
Taoist Sure is thoughtful. In that case, let's split up.
Sure Yu said.
If I find the Void Soul Essence Stone, I'll come find you, Taoist Lin. In the end, I'll need you to bring it out. My role is just to assist.
Lin Moyu said.
All right. As long as I find the Void Soul Essence Stone, I'll definitely bring it out.
Sure Yu flew off in one direction, using his own method to block the space-time power of the realm, and quickly disappeared from view. Lin Moyu glanced at the Tao Jade heart in his hand, the so-called Time Jade Sure Yu had given him. It had lost its luster, and the wisp of soul inside was gone. Lin Moyu knew Sure Yu would not succeed. The Morning Bell Emperor had already set a trap for him, and this soul fragment would never return. He summoned 100 skeleton generals, wrapped them in space-time power, and sent them out to scout. The first step in entering the spirit realm was still to find the correct path. At the same time, Lin Moyu sensed the aura in the space-time spirit realm, using his own methods to gather information. With multiple approaches, a wealth of information about the space-time spirit realm came to him.
This place wasn't naturally formed, it's an artificial spirit realm. Time and space are intertwined. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum were created together by the two emperors. It seems my guess was right. The Morning Bell Emperor and Twilight Drum Emperor had a special relationship. So when the Lord of Time harmed the Twilight Drum Emperor, the Morning Bell Emperor saw him as an enemy.
Because time and space were interwoven, the space-time spirit realm displayed many dazzling and unique forms. Space was torn apart, and each fragment had a different time flow. Some spaces were desolate, others vibrant with life. The skeleton generals flew farther and farther, and Lin Moyu saw more and more. Suddenly, one skeleton general was shattered by the power of space-time. Its fragments scattered into different times and spaces. Losing contact with each other, even an undying undead could not be revived.
Is there a living being?
Before the skeleton general lost contact, Lin Moyu caught a glimpse of a phantom. He immediately flew to the spot, quickly arriving to see fragments scattered across different times and spaces. Suddenly, the space ahead exploded, and an attack appeared before him as if by teleportation. Before Lin Moyu could react, the attack struck him. The space-time power surrounding him trembled, and Lin Moyu was blasted away by a tremendous force. If not for the strength of his space-time power, that blow would have been fatal. If he died here with space-time in chaos, his soul would be torn apart, and even his innate resurrection talent might not save him. Pushing his space-time power to the limit, Lin Moyu finally saw his attacker. It was a tiny void beast, less than the size of a palm. This void beast felt unnatural to Lin Moyu, not naturally formed, but seemingly created by space-time power. It could manipulate the space-time power within the realm and its attacks ignored space and time, striking instantly. It suddenly opened its mouth, and Lin Moyu's expression changed as another attack exploded before him. He was blasted away again, space-time power surging to block the attack. The Void Beast attacked relentlessly, forcing Lin Moyu to fly erratically through the realm, unable to stabilize himself. In his soul, one skeleton general after another lost contact. Lin Moyu knew they were all being destroyed by similar little void beasts. These little creatures stood motionless yet could attack across space, leaving him unable to counterattack at all. Fortunately, his space-time power was strong enough to block the attacks. But this couldn't go on. He had to deal with these creatures, or he'd never make progress. While being attacked, Lin Moyu observed carefully.
These little things are formed from space-time power. Their bodies are small, so they exist within the same space-time. If I cut off this section of space-time, I should be able to harm it.
With a thought, as he endured another attack, Lin Moyu shot out a thread of time power. Space-time power turned into an arrow, instantly reaching the Void Beast's location. Boom! Space-time power exploded, shattering the space where the little Void Beast stood. The once stable space-time became chaotic, and the little Void Beast instantly dissolved into countless points of light. Chapter 38-36. Mutual Scheming.
As expected, once you find the right method, they're actually easy to deal with.
These little creatures born from the space-time spirit realm weren't strong. They only used the realm's space-time power to attack. The space-time spirit realm was jointly created by the Morning Bell Emperor and the Twilight Drum Emperor, so it was extremely powerful, and these creatures' attacks were impressive. But the creatures themselves were weak. They existed within a relatively stable patch of space. If you destroyed that stability, you could kill them. Lin Moyu found the method and easily dealt with the little beast. But this approach was something only he could do. The skeleton generals couldn't. In the chaotic space-time regions, any attack from the skeleton generals would be torn apart by space-time, unable to reach the target. So Lin Moyu stopped sending skeleton generals to their deaths and advanced personally. The space-time spirit realm had no fixed direction. Here, time and space overlapped and directions changed constantly. You might be flying straight ahead and suddenly be teleported somewhere else. Not only did regions shift, but even direction itself could change at any moment. After flying for a while, Lin Moyu experienced this several times. He sent out a line of fire, but it would disappear before going far, only to reappear in another region the next second. Sometimes the fire line was even cut apart, appearing in different regions, sometimes close, sometimes far. Except for when he first entered the space-time spirit realm, where there was some order. The deeper he went, the more chaotic it became. After repeatedly failing to find a direction, Lin Moyu finally stopped. With a thoughtful look, he mused,
"This isn't the way. To find the right path, I need to understand the root cause. The space-time spirit realm was created by two emperors, so the root must be their motivation for creating it. Emperors don't do meaningless things. At their level, the greatest and only pursuit is to take the final step. So their purpose in creating this realm must have been to take that step. But every eternal existence's final step is different. What's the point of them collaborating like this?"
Lin Moyu gradually found the root of the problem. Thinking deeper, his gaze growing clearer.
It must be about materials. When time and space intertwine and great daz collide, some special materials might be produced. The Void Soul Essence Stone is one of them. Besides that, there might be other materials too. In that case, I should head toward the places where space-time is most chaotic. The more chaotic the space-time, the fiercer the Tao collisions, and the more likely materials will appear.
Lin Moyu finally understood where to go. He didn't need a specific direction, just to move toward the most chaotic Tao areas. He could ignore random teleportations. After each one, he'd keep heading toward chaos, and he'd eventually reach his goal. Sensing the surrounding space-time chaos, he found the most chaotic direction and flew toward it. On the way, if he encountered a little void beast, he'd use space-time power to erase it. He was teleported again and again, appearing in various regions, but each time he searched for the most chaotic spot and pressed on. Gradually, He noticed the surrounding spacetime was getting more and more chaotic. If the earlier chaos was a 1 out of 10, he was now moving through areas rated 10 to 20. He kept pushing toward the most chaotic 20 out of 10 regions, getting ever closer to the core of the spacetime spirit realm.
Morning Bell, you dare make a move here?
Suddenly, spacetime trembled and Lin Moyu heard a roar. The voice came from the Lord of Time. The previously calm tone was gone, replaced by agitation and anger. Lin Moyu used his will to cloak himself in spacetime power and hide. The spacetime spirit realm was a good place for this here. Spacetime was so chaotic it was like countless broken mirrors floating around, and Lin Moyu could easily conceal himself using spacetime power. Through the chaos, he saw Yu's figure. But the power flowing from Yu was not spacetime, but pure, powerful time. He was still using time to cut through space, keeping himself stable in the chaos.
His time power has weakened.
Compared to before, Yu's time power was much weaker. The chaotic spacetime in the realm was constantly draining his strength. Ahead of Yu, a phantom appeared in midair. It was the Morning Bell Emperor. The Morning Bell Emperor had also entered the spacetime spirit realm and was directly attacking Yu's clone. It looked like Yu's clone had suffered a loss. Lin Moyu saw the Morning Bell Emperor holding a beautiful, multicolored stone, the Void Soul Essence stone he needed. The Morning Bell Emperor's gaze was icy, tinged with hatred. A giant bronze bell appeared behind him, its toll shattering spacetime. Yu's clone roared.
Morning Bell, my true self won't let you get away with this.
The Morning Bell Emperor remained silent, striking the bell again and again. The clone's roars were drowned out by the bell, and soon the clone itself collapsed like a bubble. When the bell stopped, the Morning Bell Emperor looked toward Lin Moyu's hiding place.
Come out.
This was the Morning Bell Emperor's domain. Lin Moyu knew he couldn't hide, so he canceled his concealment. With a wave, the Morning Bell Emperor dispersed the chaotic spacetime, opening a path for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu flew over, puzzled.
Emperor, did you personally attack and destroy Yu's clone here because information can't escape this place?
The Morning Bell Emperor replied.
Exactly. Outside, the Lord of Time would know who destroyed his clone, and could even reverse time to find out. But here, his clone can't send out information, and he can't reverse time inside this place.
Lin Moyu said.
But he controls the River of Time, couldn't he find out from there?
The Morning Bell Emperor replied.
The River of Time isn't all-powerful. If it were, there'd be no secrets left in the world. There are still many places the River of Time can't touch, like this space-time spirit realm.
He tossed the Void Soul Essence stone to Lin Moyu.
This is the Void Soul Essence stone you wanted. You can take it to him.
So easy? Lin Moyu felt it couldn't be that simple. The Morning Bell Emperor said.
Don't overthink it. The fact that you found the key to the realm and made it here is enough. This is a rule set by me and the Twilight Drum Emperor. If you act according to the rules, there's no problem. I did make some modifications to this Void Soul Essence stone, but you can't tell, and neither can Yu. It won't affect you. When Yu discovers something's wrong, it'll be at least 1,000 years from now. I'll keep my promise to you. Even if Yu goes back on his word, I'll act.
Lin Moyu asked.
What if he finds out?
Chapter 38-37. What exactly is it? Lin Moyu didn't believe things could be as simple as the Morning Bell Emperor claimed. The Lord of Time wasn't a fool. Even if he didn't closely inspect the Void Soul Essence Stone, just the scene from earlier already seemed off. He'd dealt with Emperor remnants before, and they were extremely difficult to handle. A clone of the Lord of Time wouldn't be any weaker than an Emperor's remnant soul. Even facing the Morning Bell Emperor, it shouldn't have been so fragile. The clone of the Lord of Time just now felt to Lin Moyu like it wasn't much stronger than a great Tao Lord. In fact, Lin Moyu himself could have killed it without the Morning Bell Emperor's help. When something is out of the ordinary, there's always a reason. The Lord of Time must have anticipated this.
Could he be turning the tables?
Just as this thought arose, the Morning Bell Emperor's expression changed sharply.
Yu, Are you seeking death?
The Morning Bell Emperor's figure also vanished like a bubble. Seeing this, Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. Sure enough, things weren't that simple. The Lord of Time really did have a backup plan.
What's happening outside?
Something must have happened outside, but he couldn't leave. Even if he could, he wouldn't go unless he was sure it was safe. After all, this was a clash between two eternal beings. For a small fry like him, getting caught up in it meant certain death.
I'd better keep exploring the spirit realm. The Void Soul Essence Stone probably isn't the core product of the space-time spirit realm, or the Morning Bell Emperor wouldn't have given it up so easily.
Lin Moyu continued deeper into the spirit realm. Now that he understood the path, he just needed to keep heading toward the most chaotic areas. He kept changing direction, long since lost, only knowing to keep moving toward chaos. There was no way out now. After the Morning Bell Emperor left, Lin Moyu realized he couldn't leave the space-time spirit realm at all. If something happened to the Morning Bell Emperor, he might really be trapped here forever. So before the outside world resolved itself, his best bet was to find a way out. Both the Morning Bell Emperor and the Lord of Time were schemers, each acting for their own interests. The spatial temporal chaos was nearly at its limit. Lin Moyu's soul was now in a region split into nearly 10,000 separate spacetime zones. He had to use his own spacetime power to pull these different regions together, which was rapidly draining his strength. If his power ran out completely, spacetime would explode, splitting him into over 10,000 pieces. Each soul fragment would enter a different spacetime, making resurrection nearly impossible.
I should be close.
In Lin Moyu's senses, the chaos had reached its peak. He should be near the core of the spirit realm. He charged into the chaos again, his whole being transmitted through the turbulent spacetime. This time, the transmission lasted a long 3 seconds. When Lin Moyu regained his senses, he found that the chaotic spacetime had calmed, and he was in a relatively stable space. Dazzling, piercing light shot straight into his soul. He could see it even with his eyes closed. These lights carried spacetime power, drilling directly into his soul, not necessarily his present soul, but possibly his past or future soul as well. This was something Lin Moyu had never experienced before. Once he adapted, he saw what lay ahead. 2 treasure phantoms intersected here. A bell and a drum. The Morning Bell and the Twilight Drum were evolving here, the Morning Bell unleashing the Space Great Tao, the Twilight Drum beating out the Time Great Tao. Bell and drum sounds collided along the Great Taos, fusing into space-time power that spread outward, permeating the entire spirit realm. Where the Great Taos collided, a kind of
Eye of the storm
formed a zone of calm. Lin Moyu gazed at the 2 innate origin treasure projections. He knew these were not the true Morning Bell and Twilight Drum, but their projections. However, these projections had been arranged by special means and, barring accidents, could exist for a long time.
But the Twilight Drum Emperor is already gone. Why does the drum's projection still exist? And why do I sense a very unusual aura here, something I've never encountered before? It's not a great Tao, but it's no weaker than one.
Lin Moyu examined the Morning Bell and Twilight Drum and found that both projections were shrouded in an unfamiliar aura. It was this aura that allowed the projections to persist. With a thought, he used his soul to draw a simple divine rune. The rune flew over, circled the 2 treasures, and returned. Now the rune was stained with that unique aura. The rune had no other use, but Lin Moyu put it away, hoping to investigate its source later. He had reached the true core of the spacetime spirit realm. What came next was the key. Lin Moyu focused all his vision on the area where the Great Taos collided, never closing his eyes no matter how blinding the light. He didn't just watch with his eyes, his soul's senses were also fully concentrated on this area. All the secrets of the spacetime spirit realm should be here. After a long while, Lin Moyu finally noticed something unusual. After the 2 forces collided to form spacetime power, it didn't immediately disperse, it was compressed again. This compression wasn't a one-off, but happened repeatedly. The 2 innate origin treasures compressed the spacetime power again and again, countless times in an instant, until it could be compressed no further. Finally, the spacetime power exploded, tearing open spacetime. The tear was tiny, only the size of a pinhole, but something still shot out from it. As soon as these things entered the spacetime spirit realm, they were immediately compressed by the two treasures. They were squeezed into even smaller pieces. Some remained here, others were flung away by spacetime power. Lin Moyu watched until his soul's eyes bled, his soul trembling and unstable, but he finally saw clearly. The place torn open by spacetime power, only the size of a pinhole, was exactly the same as the place the World Tree Branch and Chaos Seed had gone. It was a place filled with chaos, and what flew out of the crack was chaotic energy. Chaotic energy can evolve all things. Once it entered the spacetime spirit realm under the influence of spacetime power, it gained spacetime attributes. Then, as it was compressed, its impurities were expelled, leaving behind the essence. Over 99% of it was impurity. These impurities gathered together to form the Void Soul Essence Stone. The remaining essence became something Lin Moyu didn't recognize. The two treasures had existed for countless ages, so the accumulation shouldn't be small. But now Lin Moyu saw only a thumb-sized piece. Apparently, the Morning Bell Emperor would sometimes come to collect the accumulated materials. Perhaps this was related to how the Morning Bell Emperor had advanced so far beyond eternity. That step beyond eternity is hard to take. Human Sovereign had struggled for years and barely made progress. Except for the owner of the ferrying Calamity boat, who had taken half a step, the Morning Bell Emperor was the furthest along Lin Moyu had seen.
What exactly is this?
After much deliberation, Lin Moyu braced himself and reached out to try and grasp the tiny, fingernail-sized object. Chapter 3838. All for the final step. The process was surprisingly smooth. Lin Moyu easily picked up that object. It was only the size of a fingernail, emitting a faint gray light. It looked unremarkable, but faintly exuded a primordial aura, as if it contained endless ages. As soon as Lin Moyu sensed this aura, he felt as if he had returned to some primordial era, like the very beginning of heaven and earth. He was shocked in his heart.
What is this thing?
This aura was terrifying, not in terms of strength, but in terms of level. Though the aura wasn't strong, its level seemed to surpass that of the great Tao. A deep voice suddenly rang out.
Daoist friend, what do you think of this item?
Lin Moyu looked up to see a phantom appear atop the twilight drum. He guessed the other's identity and immediately saluted.
Lin Moyu of the human race greets the Twilight Drum Emperor.
This was a wisp of the Twilight Drum Emperor's remnant soul. Even though it was only a remnant, Lin Moyu still maintained proper respect. The remnant soul was hazy, its true features unclear, but Lin Moyu could sense it was sizing him up, its gaze gentle. Almost instinctively, he felt the Twilight Drum Emperor was a good person. The Twilight Drum Emperor spoke softly.
Daoist friend, you haven't answered me yet.
Lin Moyu replied.
I don't recognize this item, but I find it extremely wondrous.
The Twilight Drum Emperor said.
You're not telling the truth. Earlier, you clearly saw through its origins.
Lin Moyu answered honestly.
I did see through its origins, but I truly don't covet it.
The Twilight Drum Emperor said.
Then tell me, where does it come from?
Lin Moyu said.
I once heard a senior say that at the dawn of heaven and earth there was chaos, the source of all things. If I'm not mistaken, you two emperors used space-time power to tear open a space-time rift and drew in chaos.
His words were half true, half false. There was no senior who told him this. He had experienced it himself. Moreover, he had sensed a similar aura from the Chaos Seed, so he was nearly certain of his guess. The Twilight Drum Emperor chuckled.
Well said. It is indeed chaos. We drew it in, then used space-time power to compress and refine it, ultimately obtaining two things. One is the Void Soul Essence Stone, the other is this Essence of Chaos. The Essence of Chaos helps me and the Morning Bell Emperor take the final step, so we used eternity to temper it, hoping that endless ages would yield enough Essence of Chaos.
Lin Moyu now understood that the small object in his hand was called the Essence of Chaos, and it could help the two emperors take that final step. He also realized a possibility and asked,
Does the essence of chaos help the Lord of Time as well?
The Twilight Drum Emperor replied,
Not much. Every eternal existence's final step is different.
Lin Moyu immediately said,
Earlier, the Morning Bell Emperor said the Lord of Time wants to use the Void Soul Essence Stone to fully control the Twilight Drum, that his final step is related to the Twilight Drum. Is that true?
The Twilight Drum Emperor sighed.
The Twilight Drum is only part of it. The final step is his greatest secret he won't tell anyone. Even the Morning Bell Emperor and I can only guess.
Which made sense. How could a great Tao Lord or eternal existence reveal their final step to anyone? If they encountered an enemy, they might be stopped. Lin Moyu said,
Earlier the Morning Bell Emperor said the Lord of Time has come, so it seems he has other schemes besides the Void Soul Essence Stone.
The Twilight Drum Emperor smiled.
You're right. He's very good at scheming. That's why I fell for his Tao back then and ended up like this.
As he spoke, the Twilight Drum Emperor waved his hand and space-time shifted, revealing a scene in the air. In the image, the Morning Bell Emperor and the Lord of Time were locked in fierce battle. The morning bell was struck repeatedly, space twisting and shattering, forming terrifying strangulation. The Lord of Time wielded the Time Great Tao, causing time to flow backward or freeze, turning time into invisible blades that shattered the void and struck at the Morning Bell Emperor. The two eternal beings fought so fiercely that the void was torn apart, nearly overturning the entire Great Spirit Domain. The Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain space was crazily compressed. The Morning Bell Emperor's attacks were pure force. The Lord of Time's techniques were bizarre and hard to counter, but he could never truly do anything to the Morning Bell Emperor. Within the space-time spirit realm, Lin Moyu watched this battle, an epic clash between eternal beings. The Twilight Drum Emperor said softly,
Shiryu wants to shatter the space-time spirit realm and break my eternal aura.
Lin Moyu didn't quite understand and looked at the Twilight Drum Emperor in confusion. The Twilight Drum Emperor, like a kindly old man, slowly recounted his story, helping Lin Moyu understand the entanglements between him and the Lord of Time. The Morning Bell and Twilight Drum, two innate origin treasures, correspond to space and time. Though they cannot control the Great Tao, they possess power equal to the Tao's. With these two treasures, the Morning Bell and Twilight Drum Emperors were not at all weaker than the respective Great Tao Lords. The two emperors were close friends, working together to create the space-time spirit realm and draw in chaotic energy to make the essence of chaos. Later, the Lord of Time approached the Twilight Drum Emperor under the pretense of discussing the Tao. He acted humble and courteous for 10,000 years, gaining the Twilight Drum Emperor's trust. Just when the Twilight Drum Emperor thought the Lord of Time was a true friend, the Lord of Time betrayed him. Fortunately, the Twilight Drum Emperor had split the Twilight Drum in two, leaving part of it in the space-time spirit realm, shrouded in his eternal aura, so that part of the Twilight Drum would remain forever. As long as the Twilight Drum could not be restored to wholeness, the Lord of Time could never truly obtain it. Yet his final step was tied to the Twilight Drum. So the Lord of Time had always tried to break the space-time spirit realm. But the Morning Bell Emperor had already sealed the entire Great Spirit Domain, and the Lord of Time was repelled again and again. Meanwhile, the Morning Bell Emperor used the essence of chaos produced by the space-time spirit realm to advance toward that final step. The further the Morning Bell Emperor progressed, the more anxious the Lord of Time became. The Lord of Time knew that if the Morning Bell Emperor truly took that step, he would be doomed even if eternal beings do not die. He would fall into endless dormancy with no hope of return. Thus, he had to stop the Morning Bell Emperor even if he couldn't take the step himself. He couldn't let the Morning Bell Emperor succeed. Lin Moyu finally understood his own role as a tool in all this. His purpose was to carry the Lord of Time's Tao Jade Heart into the space-time spirit realm. The Tao Jade Heart contained a clone that was obvious. The Morning Bell Emperor would certainly follow into the space-time spirit realm to stop the Lord of Time's clone. While the Morning Bell Emperor was inside, the Lord of Time could charge into the Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain. Of course, a great battle was inevitable, but this was the Morning Bell Great Spirit Domain, the Morning Bell Emperor's home turf. so the Lord of Time's chances of victory were slim. And Lin Moyu himself was just a stepping stone, used because of the rules set by the Morning Bell Emperor and the Twilight Drum Emperor. Any cultivator who mastered the power of time could enter the space-time spirit realm. As for why that rule was set, it involved secrets unknown to outsiders the Twilight Drum Emperor did not say. The Lord of Time was simply exploiting this rule to create an opportunity to enter the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain. Chapter 38-39. 1 arrow, 3 targets. From the Twilight Drum Emperor's account, Lin Moyu learned 2 pieces of knowledge that few know. First is the concept of eternal qi. Every eternal existence possesses a breath of eternal qi, which can render anything eternal. Second is about the chaotic qi they drew in. It turns out to be a kind of tiny worm living in chaos, which the Twilight Drum Emperor calls a chaos worm. The refined chaos essence is the soul of the chaos worm, while the void soul essence stone is the corpse of the chaos worm. Chaos worms are peculiar creatures without intelligence. They can merge infinitely both in life and death. Thus, after refinement, their souls continually merge, making the chaos essence ever larger. Their corpses also keep merging, growing larger and larger. The Void Soul Essence stone in Lin Moyu's hand is formed from the fused corpses of tens of millions of chaos worms. Upon learning that the Void Soul Essence stone is actually the corpse of chaos worms, Lin Moyu's first thought was whether this thing could be used for corpse explosion. He wasn't sure about the vitality of chaos worms, but given their absurdly high level, their vitality couldn't be weak. Even if a single one wasn't enough, the fusion of millions of corpses should suffice. If used for corpse explosion, who knows what the effect would be? Lin Moyu asked.
It said eternal existences can't fall, so how did you get killed by the Lord of Time?
The Twilight Drum Emperor replied,
Eternal existences won't perish unless they lose the will to live, otherwise, they only enter dormancy. You cultivators are like this, and so are we emperors. The Lord of Time refined the poison Great Tao, condensing its entire essence into a single drop of ultimate poison, causing me to fall into temporary dormancy. Then he sealed me into the river of time, and with its baptism, forced me into eternal slumber within the river. On top of that, the river of time is isolated from the outside, creating the illusion of my demise. But what he didn't know is that I left a remnant soul here, protected by eternal qi, so it survived and allowed the Morning Bell Emperor to learn the truth immediately.
Indeed, killing an eternal existence is nearly impossible. What the Lord of Time did was already the limit. Even so, the Twilight Drum Emperor only entered dormancy, not true death. If one day he returns from the River of Time, he can still be the Twilight Drum Emperor. Outside, the great battle raged on more intense than before. The space-time spirit realm was also affected, rumbling and shaking. The Morning Bell Emperor still held the upper hand, but fully suppressing the Lord of Time would take more time. The Twilight Drum Emperor sighed.
The Morning Bell Emperor left part of his power here to help me, so he can only use about 80% of his strength, which is holding him back.
Lin Moyu watched the battle outside, frowning tightly.
The Lord of Time probably still has a backup plan. The Morning Bell Emperor must be careful.
The Twilight Drum Emperor said nothing, but from the change in his aura, Lin Moyu sensed he was clearly nervous as well. At this moment, Lin Moyu didn't take sides or fully trust the Twilight Drum Emperor's words. He had his own judgment and knew neither side was someone he could afford to provoke. It was best not to get involved in their struggle. Just offering a warning was already the limit. In the scene, the River of Time appeared, the Time Great Tao poured down, and time became incomparably chaotic. The space-time spirit realm shook even more violently, as if it might collapse at any moment. The Morning Bell Emperor struck the bell forcefully, layering endless spaces to block the power of time. But the power of time was unpredictable and ever-changing. Some spaces were annihilated, and the space-time spirit realm was inevitably affected. The Morning Bell Emperor's hollow voice rang out.
Sure, your human Taoist friend is in the space-time spirit realm right now. Aren't you afraid of getting him killed?
The Lord of Time laughed loudly.
Taoist Lin is the reincarnation of a great Tao Lord. He can't die at worst, he'll just reincarnate again. In fact, if his luck is bad this time and his true spirit imprint is taken by the world will, maybe next time he'll return to the great Tao. And don't forget, if he dies in the space-time spirit realm, the karma falls on your head.
At this moment, the Lord of Time looked completely different. His eyes full of killing intent and even a hint of madness. Lin Moyu instinctively felt this was the Lord of Time's true face. All the previous friendliness was just an act. He'd not only fooled Lin Moyu, but even Discernment Beast. Discernment Beast wasn't all-knowing, and the Lord of Time was usually very agreeable, so even it was misled. Lin Moyu sighed softly. He truly didn't want to get involved in the struggle between two eternal beings. But now, it seemed he had no choice but to get involved. The Lord of Time was already close to madness, using every means to force his way into the core of the Morning Bell Great Spirit domain, not to deal with the Morning Bell Emperor, but to destroy the space-time spirit realm. Only by destroying the space-time spirit realm could the Twilight Drum Emperor's remnant soul lose its eternal protection, allowing the Lord of Time to truly seize the Twilight Drum. As for the Void Soul Essence Stone, it didn't seem so important after all. Lin Moyu thought of the 3 lives secret method. The Lord of Time controlled the River of Time and knew most things in the world. Perhaps he learned the 3 lives secret method from the River of Time. Even without the Void Soul Essence Stone, he could use the 3 lives secret method to refine the Twilight Drum and become the new Twilight Drum Emperor. If so, the Morning Bell Emperor's final step would be blocked. And if Lin Moyu died, the Lord of Time wouldn't have to help him, thus avoiding karma, and Lin Moyu's death would count against the Morning Bell Emperor. For the Lord of Time, this was truly a
1 arrow, 3 targets.
masterstroke.
What a scheme.
Lin Moyu couldn't help but sneer. At this point, he knew he could no longer stay uninvolved. But a struggle at the eternal level wasn't something he could participate in. The Lord of Time suddenly took out a treasure shaped like a small mountain, holding it in his palm. He tossed the treasure, and it instantly grew into a mountain 100 million miles high. The mountain hummed in the void, radiating powerful energy, and space instantly stabilized. The Morning Bell Emperor and Twilight Drum Emperor spoke in unison.
Immovable mountain.
The Morning Bell Emperor's expression darkened, his voice icy.
You actually obtained the immovable mountain.
His words were met with the Lord of Time's laughter as he activated the immovable mountain. Space grew ever more stable, making it harder for the Morning Bell Emperor to manipulate space. Lin Moyu asked,
What is the immovable mountain?
The Twilight Drum Emperor replied,
The immovable mountain is a treasure of the space great Tao, belonging to that true body Tao Lord. Its function is to stabilize space. Although the Lord of Time plus the immovable mountain can't kill the Morning Bell Emperor, it will put him at a disadvantage and prevent him from protecting the space-time spirit realm.
The Lord of Time's goal from the start was the space-time spirit realm, not the Morning Bell Emperor. Once the Morning Bell Emperor was affected, Lin Moyu himself would be in danger. And right now, he couldn't leave. Battle shockwaves filled the outside, and stepping out would mean instant death. Lin Moyu's expression was equally grim.
Twilight Drum Senior, can you do me a favor?
The Twilight Drum Emperor asked.
What favor?
Lin Moyu split off a wisp of his soul.
Help me get this soul fragment onto the Lord of Time. Maybe I have a way to stop him.